Today we're going to do a short little video that I've seen in the Scottish Herald. Brew is a company that has been planting trees to make itself look very good, and most of the trees that is planted have ended up dying, and they've had huge grants for it. So let's get through it. So if you haven't seen my channel before, please comment, rate and subscribe and share this stuff out there. We're just showing the hypocrisy of net zero throughout the UK and mostly in Wales, to be honest. So there we are. You've got your right on net zero people there trying to say how great their company is. The news that half of the trees in Brewdog's Lost Forest died within the first 12 months has led campaigners and woodland experts to call for changes in the Scottish Government grant scheme that funded the trees and the way it favours planting over regeneration. Scottish Forestry said one native woodland advisor has a plantation mindset, not a regeneration mindset. The Scottish Government, he added, doesn't seem to realise the signals they send out are important when you only give people £600 per hectare for regeneration compared with thousands for planting. That's a strong signal, and the signal is regeneration is not important. Douglas Macmillan, Professor of Environment and Biodiversity Economics at the University of Kent, called for no planting grants for fast-growing industrial conifers such as Sitka spruce, and for grants to be tripled for native woodland expansion throughout the natural regeneration. Now, the thing is, you have to remember about this, though, is that Sitka spruce, even though it's a tree that they use for making things, it's a evergreen tree, so it's always doing CO2, taking CO2 in, because it's always growing. But when you have a hardwood tree, which is I love hardwood trees, I've got them all over my farm. They only produce and take in CO2 for a certain part of the year, because after autumn there's no leaves on it. But the Sitka spruce is taken in for the all year. And people who outside of forestry don't really know much about that sort of thing. So forestry is like farming is farming animals, forestry is farming trees. When you get people who are obsessed with one side or the other, like the net zero loons, they're just trying to sell a product in reality and make money. So in the response, the Scottish Forestry said it had paid Brewdog. So this is what Scottish Forestry said: it had paid Brewdog $690,986 to date, and confirms that a very high proportion of the planted trees had died. So that's what Brewdog got for planting, and half the trees they planted have died. It also noted that it had not done a full survey, but had carried out an inspection in September 2023 for the pine planted there. It said the initial planting density of 1,600 plants per acre was achieved, but there was high mortality of trees across the site, with an initial estimate of 50 to 56% of the native woodland broadleaf dying, basically. A very high mortality of around 95%. Because the things are not natural, and they're just doing it at random to get money. Brewdog has responded following the publication of the blog. Last year, he wrote, we planted 500,000 trees in partnership with our friends at Scottish Woodlands, but then came the fifth hottest summer on record. An incredibly hot and dry summer was followed by a harsh winter as savage gales sweeping from... There's the cult attitude. Oh. Woodland projects of this scale are always a challenge. You know that some saplings won't survive, at least from the outset, but summer extreme conditions result in a higher than expected failure rate, particularly in Scotch pine. He noted that 50% of the 500,000 saplings have died within the first 12 months. We have done a full assessment with Scottish Woodlands, and we began replanting the saplings in earnest. We have already replaced 50,000 of the baby trees. Well, the annual target for woodland creation in Scotland is 18,000 hectares, but it's only once hit it in the last 5 years. And the last year it was reported that in 2023, 8,190 target of 15,000 hectares. You know what I think? It shouldn't even be that high. In December, Scottish forestry budget was slashed from 104 million to 70 million, and its planting grants were reduced from 77 million to 46 million. So I'm not going to go on with this. It's just look at the vast amount of money that firm was making. 690,000 it was paid for planting them trees to make themselves look good, and over half of them died, and they got 690,000 for it. It's the biggest con on earth, and I'm not having to go at the company. It's an absolute idiocy for it all. I've just made that word up. This is net zero in a nutshell. Businesses making money, trying to sell stuff to people, and then making a fortune out of net zero when nothing is happening in reality. We all know that in the countryside. It's just a money-making scheme. So please comment, rate, and subscribe. All the best, Gaz.